playing the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game. If you treat it the same, it's just ball, man. It's 60 minutes, potentially plus, of flying around with your brothers and having a great time and playing the greatest game in the world. The standard is always the standard. The media doesn't determine the standard. The opponents don't determine our standard. The standard is the standard, and we compete every day.
It is NFL Divisional Playoff Weekend and time for another edition of Cowboys Huddle here inside the Globe Life Studios at the beautiful Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys Vice President of Player Personnel, Will McClay. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer will be along shortly. So much to get to over the course of the next half hour, and it is a busy time, Will, behind the scenes here and really across the NFL. 9 head coaching vacancies around the league, and combined with last year, half the teams here will have first or second year head coaches in the league. The coaching carousel is real, and that's not even getting into all the coordinator openings around the league, right?
Yeah, it's the time of year where people restart. You know, there's the few that are battling to be that one team, but the rest of us are trying to get ready for the next year and prepare. So it's a busy time in trying to find coaching staff, and we start getting into the All-Star games, free agency. So it's never a dull moment.
And for you speak of the All-Star games right here at the Star in Frisco, the East-West Shrine Bowl. The players will be arriving this coming week. The game will be played on Tuesday, January 27th. You got the Senior Bowl right after that. It doesn't get any busier for you, right?
No, and it's a great time for us. What we're trying to do is continue to improve this team, so it's a great time for us to go into it knowing fresh what's out there, getting a good look at it, and being prepared for it and getting ready for the combine, which follows all that stuff up.
Well, give us an idea what is going on behind the scenes here, and I know there's a lot of Zoom interviews going on with your defensive coordinator opening, and so many interviews taking place. Your mind has to be swimming just a little bit, right?
Yeah, we're getting an opportunity to talk to a lot of guys about their vision, about improving the defense, how they do it, how it fits into the staff. So that's an exciting part. And then you'll talk about staffs and what type of defense they want to build, which leads into the player acquisition part of it. But just getting that part down, getting on the same page there, looking for guys that are on the same page with Coach Schottenheimer, and then us getting to know them and building the program from there. Excited about another opportunity to do that.
One coach I want to ask you about is Aaron Whitecotton, the defensive line coach, just completed his first year here. What is it about Coach Whitecotton that you've been most impressed with?
He's a football guy. I mean, when you can establish relationships there where guys want to run through a wall for you, number one, that's your ability to communicate and demand the best out of them, and then to make them better. So watching him coach and teach, it's phenomenal, the way, the detail that he has and the passion that he has, and then to watch all of those guys that love him and go fight and battle for him, talks about his ability as a coach and as a human being.
You know, you talk at this about this defense, and sort of a rebuilding process has taken place throughout the season, especially you look at the interior of the defensive line. Couple of guys that Whitecotton has coached in the past. Quentin Williams gets acquired at midseason. Solomon Thomas as well. When you're building this defense, there's a pretty good nucleus that's been established up front, right?
Yeah, there's a great nucleus, and then establishing the way, especially up front with Whitecotton, the way that we want to play. That's not going to change. You're going to want to have to get after the quarterback. You're going to want to affect the quarterback, and it starts up front. And so those guys and having that familiarity there, hopefully, and those guys coming back, it makes us. We build the defense starting at the front, and we feel good about that.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Cowboys Huddle. The head coach is going to be joining us shortly, and will be back as we will look more at what's going to happen during the offseason with your Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys Huddle with Brian Schottenheimer, powered by Reliant, is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, what would you like the power to do? And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
Welcome back to Cowboys Huddle here inside the Globe Life Studios as Bill Jones now joined by Brian Schottenheimer, Cowboys head coach. And Coach, coming up on your one-year anniversary being hired as the head coach of the Cowboys, I want to start with you with this. Over the course of the last year, what is it, maybe from a culture standpoint, that you think happened this past year that best serves this team going forward and the future of this team? What was it that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think, we just expressed to our guys very clearly that we wanted them to be authentic. We want them to be themselves. We're not trying to make someone act or behave a way that they're not. Like, I want these guys to show their personalities, and that kind of goes back to that compete every day thing. And we want these guys to be the best versions of themselves. But, we've built up a strong bond. We've built up a strong group of young men that love and support one another. They're willing to have hard conversations. They're willing to tell each other, that, hey, I love you. And to get grown men to say that in this industry is a little bit hard, and I think that's going to serve us very well moving forward.
You talked about even in a couple of days after the season was over how excited you are about hitting the ground running on next season. And one of the things I was most impressed with after you got this job was how you hit the ground running in terms of your coaching staff, free agency, draft, locking arms with Will McClay and the scouting staff. How much do you enjoy that process that's coming up over the next few months?
Bill, I love it. I think that's what it's about. I think if the NFL ever changes the calendar, I'd be in deep trouble, because you're just so used to, okay, it's January, you're doing this, you're finishing up playing. Okay, now it's February, you're getting ready to do exit interviews and things like that. Then you're into, March, and it's free agency, and then the combine and things like that. But I love it. Why? Because I love people. I love working together and trying to have hard conversations, solve problems, look for ways to get better. And I'm really excited about the future and what we're trying to do here because of the people that we get to do it with on a day-to-day basis.
All right, I want to ask you a question that you probably get from fans. What's it like working with Jerry Jones? Now you've been for the last year side by side working with Jerry and Steven. What is it that you would say about what it's like working with Jerry?
I love it. I would say it's great. I really do. I spoke about this, I think, in my opening press conference, and nothing's changed in the year I've been doing this. They're so easy to talk to. Communication is a strength of mine. If you're the owners of a football team, you want to be informed of what's going on, and deservedly so. But again, to me, you're talking to a guy that grew up in a household of football, and they grew up, Steven certainly, with being in a house of football. And so we just have so many things in common, and we have great conversations, and they're truly great. They really are, and we don't agree on everything, but we hash it out. We usually come to a unanimous decision.
All right, you're mixing over the course of the last year, being a head coach for the first time, offensive play caller. People don't understand what all goes in behind the scenes here. Are there enough hours in the day? Even to this point, let me pull back the curtain a little bit. You want to do things the right way so much that even with this show, you're making an extra effort after the season. Okay, Rox, what time do I need to be there? Let's do the show. Is there enough time in the day for you?
Always. And when you love it, Bill, you never feel like there's not enough time in the day, because there's nothing more other than my family and my faith that drives me to be great. And it's football. I love it. It's what I know. It's what I grew up with. And I truly am committed to doing everything it takes to bring a championship to the Cowboys.
All right. We continue with more Cowboys Huddle in a moment. And in just a moment, we're going to talk with the coach about some of the young players on this team.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
Welcome back to Cowboys Huddle here inside the Globe Live studios. We are rejoined by Will McClay, Cowboys Vice President of Player Personnel. We talked earlier in the show, Will, about the East-West Shrine Bowl coming up this week. Players will be arriving for the January 27th game at Ford Center here. Lunda Wells will be the head coach of the West team, and I understand Aaron Whitecotton will be on the staff as well. What does that do for you as a scouting staff, as a coaching staff, that you've got guys with hands-on with these players here?
That's a huge part of it, is because when we go through the process, we interview them, we do some of that, and we get to watch them practice, but we're not in the room with them the entire time, where you can start to find out about their love of football, their ability to learn, all those things. So those coaches getting that exposure, it's only going to help us as we go through the process.
All right, when you talk about the process, not only East-West Shrine Bowl this coming week and the Senior Bowl after that, and then you get into the Combine next month, and then you got free agency and the draft. What I want to ask you specifically about, though, is college football and the changes in college football and how that has affected you in scouting these players in the draft with the NIL, transfer portal, guys staying in school longer. What kind of effect has that had on the draft pool?
Number one, I thank our college scouting staff for going through all of these changes and doing the work that they do to help us find the guys, because it is unique and it's different. You think about NIL, we talk about that. There's players that are transferring, so you have to change your mindset. We used to talk about earning it and guys going through 3-4 years at a program. Well, now they're changing spots, and the information that you gather on these guys, you're going to have to do more legwork on that and finding out who the guys are. We used to talk about doing it for money. Well, these guys are getting paid in college now, so you have to really dig and find out more about what motivates them, what's their driver to play the game, and then it's quite interesting. There will be several players that come out. George Pickens is going into his free agent year, and he will be younger than some of the guys that are coming out in the draft.
Yep. How about your relationship and being aligned with the coaching staff, and in particular, last year you look back at the experience with Brian Schottenheimer getting the head coaching job and getting on the same page with him. He seems like a coach who really locked arms with you and was there every step of the way with you.
Yeah, I'm very thankful and impressed with that relationship, because at the end of the day, my job is to find players, when our staff is to do that, and the only way we do that is know what we're looking for, what we want from them, and so it's establishing that connection and being locked in step with the coaching staff so that we can bring the information to ownership and we can pick the right guys. So it's really exciting, him digging into the personnel, knowing that the X's and O's are only as good as the Jimmies and Joes, and so taking an investment in that and getting on the same page with that.
Okay, regardless of position, what is it? What are the primary traits you're looking for in a draft prospect?
You're looking for a guy that loves the game of football, and you have to dig to try and figure that out. You can see it on tape, but not only loving the game, but the process of the game. It's the practices, it's the meeting, all of that. And, you're looking for guys that have instincts. With the way college football is played, and then you come to the NFL, it's changed, and there's so many things that happen. But people that have the instincts are able to react at the right time in the right way. So we're just digging to find those football instinctive guys as well.
And, of course, 2 first-round draft picks. The Cowboys will be picking number 12 and number 20 as it sits right now. Well, McClay, we appreciate you joining us here on Cowboys Huddle. And when we continue in just a moment, some of the young players on the roster, we'll talk about them with the head coach when Cowboys Huddle continues in just a moment.
This segment is brought to you by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com.
Cowboys Huddle continues now inside the Globe Life studios here at the Star in Frisco as the coach rejoins us here. Brian, I want to ask you about some of the young guys on this team, and let's start with DeMarvion Overshown, who I don't know at what point you're not still a young guy because he's got some years of experience, but how big was it for him this year coming off the injury and getting that time on the field? And I know he's going to be an instrumental part of things going forward here at linebacker.
Yeah, Bill, I would say this, another huge reason for Cowboy fans to be just really excited about the future is guys like Demo. What this guy's had to go through coming back from these injuries has not slowed him down. The makeup is incredible. He's an unbelievable football player, but the leadership and the natural playmaking ability for a linebacker is something that is hard to find. And just so proud of him to get back out there to do that. And the sky's the limit for this guy, and not just as a player, but as a leader of this football team and this defense moving forward.
Another guy who has some of those same traits is your second-round draft pick, who's just finishing up his rookie year, Donovan Ezeraku. I can't tell you how impressed I was with him first time I met him, and he is the type guy that is going to grow more and more into being a leader on this team, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say maybe one of the most, if not the most, and I say that because we'll talk about Tyler Booker, but maybe one of the most, if not the most, mature rookies I've ever been around. This guy, the way he attacks the game, the way he attacks his preparation, the film and how he studies it. He's wired the right way, And again, his play style, man, is just something that the guys feed off it, whether it's a safety against the Raiders, a sack against the Giants. I mean, his play style is unique.
All right, and one more guy on defense, Savone Revel, third-round draft pick, coming off the injury. What is it? What did he learn from this season, and where do you see him going forward now?
Yeah, again, another guy with incredible traits, but incredible heart, incredible desire to be a great player. Just to get out there and play coming back off the injury and to get some experience and to, hey, I belong. You know, I know I can play this game, and to be matched up against some of the best receivers in the league and to go out and compete against those guys gives him the confidence going into the offseason. And the stride or the jump from him from his rookie year to his second year in the league, I think is going to be huge.
Okay, and you mentioned Tyler Booker on offense. What more can you say about Tyler Booker?
You know, it's interesting. We were talking about exit interviews earlier, and every player that came in, I kind of asked them, I said, hey, who are the leaders on the football team in the locker room, the guys that have influence? And, of course, everybody would go with Dak, and they'd talk about Quinnen and Kenny Clark, Osa, people like that. But almost to a man, certainly on offense, they all talked about Tyler Booker. And this guy is an alpha. This guy is an elite football player. And this guy I think could be one of the most dominant guards in football for a long, long time.
And it's amazing. You go into a room like that with a bunch of veterans at 21 years old, and you're the alpha of the room.
And you love tortoises. So, I mean, when you look at that, there's something to it. I might have to buy a couple tortoises for the house.
All right, and players come from everywhere. Ryan Flanoy, we saw him, especially the last half of the season. You saw the athleticism, but then when he on that big stage is able to perform the way he did, the sky seems to be the limit for Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he is the same guy every day. He doesn't change, whether it's training camp, early in the season practice habits, end of season practice habits. He's one of the first guys on the practice field. He's one of the last guys off the practice field. And he's just, he's so confident. He's playing with so much confidence. His ability to catch contested passes and to finish with the ball in his hands is unique. And yeah, Dak Prescott's found another pretty cool weapon.
And one more, Jaydon Blue. We saw him in the last game against the Giants. Yeah, the juice is real with Jaydon Blue.
You know, Jaydon's a guy, it took a little while for it to get going, and he was one of my favorite exit interviews because he talked about that and how much he learned that, wow, pro football is different. But, man, when he stepped on the field and got his opportunity against the Giants, no one was surprised. Man, I think the playmaking, the vision, and just the absolute acceleration and game-changing speed is real.
All right, the last shotty shot of the year when we come back on Cowboys Huddle.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com.
Final couple of minutes here of Cowboys Huddle. Bill Jones and Brian Schottenheimer. It's time for the final shotty shot of this season. And, Coach, you got a blank canvas this week, okay? Normally, Roxanne Medina, our producer, she's got video prepared for you and so forth. This time, the canvas is blank. You can take it wherever you want to go. Where are you going with it?
Well, and I can tell you're emotional because it's the last one of the year, so I see that.
My favorite segment every week.
And honestly, I am emotional as well when I start just talking about all the people that affect me and just support me along the way. It's such an incredible opportunity to sit here and be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I'd be crazy if I didn't start with my wife, Jemmy, and my two kids, Sutton and Savannah. But everyone in the organization is so incredible. And, you know, so many of them can't be out there on the field getting the celebrations of the fans, and whether it's Tad Carper, David Abruzzi in PR, Scott Agolnak, whether it's Laura Fryer, I call her Lil L, my assistant, and really to the fans. I can't thank the fans enough for all their support. When we look back already, we played better at home, and there's a reason for that. That's because of the fans and the way they support us, and I feel very, very blessed.
All right, and I'll throw out a couple too. How about Roxanne Medina and Scott Purcell and the Cowboys TV team?
The best. You guys, honestly, I give them a hard time when we're off camera. They make this so easy for me. I'm obviously a very busy man, but they're the best. They make me feel very, very comfortable. And to you as well, Bill, thank you for all you do. And again, just very, very blessed.
And here's to a great 2026 as well. We thank all of you for joining us here for Cowboys Huddle throughout the season, and we will see you again next season.
Cowboys Huddle with Brian Schottenheimer, powered by Reliant. was brought to you by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, what would you like the power to do? And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys.